Hey there, guys. So I want to thank you for taking the time to check out today's live stream, where we're going to be going over stability and how it can create a better muscle growth signal. So that's going to be our topic for the day. But before I do get started with this topic, I do want to share a few things with you guys. So if you're not aware, I'm actually going to be traveling in the next week. So some of my streams it may not be until the following week, depending on how quickly I'm able to sort of jump back into the rhythm of things. So, of course, on Wednesday, there will be no way that I'll be able to do a stream because I will be actually flying back from LA. I actually leave for LA tomorrow and I'll be flying back on that Wednesday. And it won't be till late Wednesday that I will come back. So I likely will not have really any live streams this coming week, but I will be returning live streams after this next week, and I'll get back into the rhythm of it. But I did want to share that with you guys beforehand so that you know that streams are going to be a little off in this coming week, but I do plan on returning back to them and sharing, of course, more information with you guys. But you'll have to bear with me because of the traveling that I'm going to be doing in the next week. So definitely keep that in mind. Um, I'll be sure to keep you guys updated when the streams will return. But this will be the last stream that I do for at least a week or so, but I will return back very soon. So thank you guys once again for checking out this live stream. If you're not aware, of course, you can visit my website, which is bponlinefitness.com, where you can share and learn, excuse me, learn a ton of information. You can also share it as well. Learn a ton of information as it relates to online fitness coaching, as well as also there is a free fitness blog you can sign up to, as well as a email list that you can sign up to, or I should say, there's a free blog post you can check out and an email list that you can sign up to. So this is where you can, of course, get a ton of free information related to fitness, nutrition, and things of that nature. I always continue to keep those updated. Again, some of the content that I share will likely be a little bit staggered because of everything going on with traveling, but I do plan on getting back into the rhythm and, of course, sharing that information with you guys as I continue to move forward with my business. But thank you guys once again for your understanding. So let's go ahead and get into today's topic, where we're going to be discussing on why stability creates better muscle growth signals. So, I don't know if in the past I've really discussed as much on stability as I have with various other points related to fitness, but this is a very important topic that can be beneficial to be aware of no matter at what stage you are at in your fitness journey, because stability is important no matter where you're at. Because a lot of times when we're talking about especially heavier weightlifting, that does require a large amount of stability to really gain momentum from. And to be able to perform workouts effectively, you have to have strong stability. So keep that in mind. So these are some of the few points that we're going to be discussing. There will be additional points that I will discuss outside of these that I have here on the screen. So we're going to go over why stability increases mechanical tension better than momentum, the hidden role of stability in protecting recovery and joint health, why beginners grow faster when they master control first, how stable reps create a better mind muscle connection, and much more. So, these are all the points that we're really going to talk about today. Why stability increases mechanical tension better than momentum. So, stable positioning keeps tension on the target muscle instead of shifting effort into swinging or compensating. Momentum itself reduces time under tension by allowing the body to escape the difficult portions of the rep. Controlled movement improves muscle fiber recruitment, which means, like what I've mentioned previously before, when you have a more controlled range of motion, meaning how you control the rep that you perform in the workout, the more it allows for more muscle fibers to be activated, meaning that this is going to lead to a larger amount of muscle growth. And it's going to increase this hypertrophy focused stimulation, which is, of course, muscle gain. Stability allows cleaner execution through the full range of motion, especially in these stretch positions. Less unnecessary movement means more force directed into the muscle you are trying to grow. So keep that in mind. Again, what stability does, and when we control how we go through the reps, this is not only making us more mindful on how we're performing workouts, but it also helps us to activate more of those muscle fibers because we are spending more time and attention. Like, for example, there is basically two sets of muscle fibers that are being engaged in workouts. And these fibers can be known as top one and top two. And so with these different fibers, you're going to have specific amount of muscles being engaged depending on how you control each workout. So whenever you're performing a workout really fast, and when you're going through the reps in a extremely fast manner, you're usually only having a single top muscle fiber that's being engaged. Because you're doing the reps and the workout so fast, your muscles are not able to really get all of the tension, and they're not able to fully feel the weight that you're lifting. So that's why you're only activating a single set of muscle fibers. Whereas if you're focusing on top two with top two muscle fibers and having top one and top two sort of activating together, this allows for a larger amount of muscle growth because when we're slowing down the reps, it's allowing us to perform the workouts in a controlled, it's allowing, well, in other words, it's allowing us to activate more muscle, and when we're slowing down, we're engaging more of that muscle for, again, better and optimal growth, if that makes sense. The hidden role of stability in protecting recovery and joint health. So, like what I've mentioned before, when I have clients usually start out with weightlifting and exercise, one of the things that I do have them emphasize a lot of times with their exercise and their workouts when they're starting on into online fitness coaching is I primarily have them focusing on basically doing stabilization endurance based exercises. And I've discussed this before in previous streams, but again, this is a very important concept that is crucial to be aware of because what the stabilization endurance phase is even though that sounds like a very large word and it sounds like it's very complicated, it's very simple in a lot of ways because all stabilization endurance means is that we're performing body weight workouts or we're performing workouts that are focusing on basic movement patterns as well as at the same time we're challenging our stability. We're adding maybe single leg based squats. We're adding any kind of workout movement that is going to challenge stability so that we are building upon that base. So, stability does more than improve performance. So, stable movement patterns reduce unnecessary joint stress during training. Better positioning is going to help muscles absorb force instead of dumping stress into connective tissue. Controlled movement improves force distribution across the body, so you're able to transfer force more effectively. Movement increases wear and tear, so excessive swinging and compensating can create unpredictable joint loading. Poor stability often shifts the tension into the shoulders, the knees, the hips, and the lower back. So again, when we're focusing on that starting phase, this is allowing for the body to be able to adjust in advance before we go into heavier lifting. The body spends more energy surviving the movement instead of producing quality tension. So when it's constantly trying to survive each movement, you're not allowing for enough tension to be engaged on that muscle to effectively grow more efficiently. So keep that in mind. Why beginners grow faster when they master control first. Beginners often gain muscle faster when they focus on control instead of chasing heavy weight too early. Like what I've mentioned, when you're starting out with a workout routine, your main focus should be your movement, how you perform basic movements. Like what I've said with clients that I work with when they start out with workouts and when they start out with their routine is basic movements, mastering those basic movements, focusing on again, not not just workouts that involve weightlifting, but doing body weight squats, lunges, doing body weight movements and learning those movement patterns are very important because when you transfer and transition into heavier lifting, this allows you to have more control, especially like think if we're going into a strength based phase or a muscle development based phase, our body has to be able to control those weights effectively in order for us to maximize that muscle growth. So, again, you're going to have a ton of benefit when you have that control earlier, in your workout routine than if you was to just think about doing it later. So again, controlled reps improve movement quality, stability, and coordination, allowing the target muscles to handle more of the workload. Slowing down the movement helps reduce momentum and compensation, increasing mechanical tension where growth actually happens. So, mastering technique is teaching the nervous system how to recruit muscles more efficiently during training. So, better control usually means better range of motion, stronger contractions, and safer joint positioning during the lifts. How stable reps create a better mind muscle connection. So, again, I've discussed mind muscle connection before in previous streams, but just to give you a quick summary of what mind muscle connection is it is basically how you are connecting your mind and your body all at the same time. So, what you're doing when you're focusing on a mind muscle connection is being intentional with how you're lifting the weight and going through the reps in the workout. So, this is like, for example, you're doing cues mentally on, let's say, like when we're doing a bicep curl, we're squeezing the biceps. Or when we're doing a lunge, we're focusing on stepping forward into the lunge. We're basically cueing ourselves mentally, and that's what's creating this connection to where we're activating that muscle more, if that makes sense. Stability allows the nervous system to focus on muscle recruitment instead of balance and compensation. Like I would have mentioned previously with the nervous system is very much involved in your performance and how you are moving more efficiently. So, when you have a good nervous system and when your nervous system is not fatigued, which your nervous system can get fatigued in various different ways, such as if you don't have proper recovery and if you're not, having proper nutrition, you're not, your body is just extremely fatigued. This is where the nervous system again can really it can hamper those results in your workouts. Controlled reps improve awareness of where tension is actually being placed during an exercise. So stable positioning helps keep tension on the target muscle throughout the full range of motion. Like what I've mentioned many times before, when you're performing workouts, your starting position is very crucial. And that's kind of what we're talking about here is we're wanting to focus on keeping ourselves stable as we're going throughout the workout. And I discuss this many times over when I'm discussing workouts such as in my short form videos where I explain different tips on performing workouts. I always mention that sort of starting position. And that starting position is going to allow you, of course, to be stable, but it is allowing you to again place more emphasis on that target muscle that we're trying to engage. So it's going to keep that tension on that target muscle throughout the entire range of motion. Reduced momentum makes it easier to feel the intended muscle doing the work. So, slower and more controlled reps improve communication between the brain and the working muscles. And this is something that I've discussed before also is that when you have better control with your reps, this does really improve that connection between both of those, the aspect of your muscle connecting with your mind. That's a lot of what can happen when you slow down your reps is that you intentionally have to think more about how you're performing the workout because you have to be stable when you're doing those reps. When you slow them down, you have to make sure that you're stable. So when you slow down, this really creates that better connection with your mind and your muscle. Stable movement patterns reduce compensation from surrounding muscles and joints. So like what I mentioned, when you stay stable and when you stay in the proper starting position and when you have this mind muscle connection, this allows you to make sure that that targeted muscle is being engaged effectively and that we're not slipping into, a stabilizer muscle that is trying to help you perform the workout. So those stable movements are going to focus on isolating that target muscle you want to engage. The difference between moving weight and loading muscle. So moving weight and loading muscle are not always the same thing. Momentum can help complete reps without keeping tension on the target muscle. So just because you're swinging the weight and you're able to lift the weight really fast does not mean that that muscle is really being engaged effectively. Muscles grow from sustained mechanical tension. And again, that mechanical tension is how you are controlling the entire rep that you're performing, not simply from the weight being lifted. It's not how heavy you're lifting the weight, it's how you're able to control the weight that matters. Stable positioning helps direct force into that intended muscle group instead of surrounding muscles and joints. So, swinging, bouncing, or rushing reps often reduces the actual muscle recruitment. Controlled reps are also going to increase time under tension and improve that mind muscle connection at the same time. So keep that in mind as well. Stability helps keep the tension on the targeted muscle. So again, stable positions help direct the force into that target muscle, reducing compensation from stronger surrounding muscles, like what I mentioned when if you have like stabilizer muscles. So, just to give you an example, when we're performing different workouts, when we're performing various types of workouts, let's say, for example, we do a bicep curl or we do a tricep extension or any oscillating workout. Even though we are doing an oscillating workout that is targeting a specific muscle, we still have stabilizer muscles that are helping us to perform that workout and to engage in that muscle. So if your form is off, this can mean that your stabilizer muscles can take over. That's what I mean by stabilizer muscles, is that whenever you're performing a bicep curl, you naturally have other muscles that are being used. So the entirety of your arm is having to be used. And if you're not effectively squeezing the biceps, and if you're not focusing on a controlled movement, you change the targeted muscle. So you have to keep that in mind. So this improves the quality of the repetition and enhances mind-muscle connection and muscle awareness, and it's going to keep tension where growth is intended to occur. So common examples are a stable chest press is keeping tension on the chest instead of shifting to the shoulders. A controlled row helps the lats and the upper back work harder instead of relying on the momentum. A stable squat allows the quads and the glutes to stay loaded throughout the entire movement. So again, even though when we're doing workouts and our intention is to target a specific muscle, we still have supporting muscles that are being engaged. And when we shift where, our movement is, this shifts where the target muscle is going to be and what you're going to be targeting. Stability protects recovery and joint health. So, stability is not just a performance tool, it is a recovery tool at the same time. So, the more stable your movement patterns are, the less unnecessary stress is placed on your joints, connective tissues, and nervous system. So, this makes your recovery more efficient. your recovery naturally. When you focus on better form and technique in your workouts, you are able to recover so much faster. So why does this matter? This reduces excessive strain on the joints during training. It helps distribute force through the muscles instead of passive structures. It also decreases unnecessary wear and tear from poor movement, or poor movement patterns, I should say, and allows for more consistent training with fewer setbacks, improving long-term training sustainability. So again, we're not only helping our body when we're, performing our workouts more effectively, but also at the same time, we're able to recover way more efficiently in our workouts. So you have to keep that in mind as well. All right, guys. So that's pretty much all that I have to discuss with you guys today. I really hope that this stream was helpful and valuable in a lot of ways. I think this is an important topic to really get a grasp on because whenever you're able to have more control in your exercises, this does allow for, again, better muscle growth, better activation, and this at the same time helps for more sufficient recovery, which again is going to allow you to be able to be on top of your workouts, better performance and training in those workouts. This is going to be a really big benefit as you're moving forward. So continue to, again, really slow down, take your time with your workouts, think about your positioning as you're getting started. Think about that mind muscle connection and make sure that you're targeting the muscle that you're intending to target. And you're going to know if you're targeting that muscle because there is going to be a tightness in that particular targeted muscle. So if the tightness is not where you are looking for it to be, where that muscle activation is, where you don't feel that proper muscle activation, then you may need to rethink how you're performing the workout. Do you need to shift sort of your positioning? Do you need to change how your starting position is? Maybe you need to make sure you're more upright. Maybe you need to make sure that your feet are in the proper positioning. There are many ways that you can troubleshoot and figure out what you may need to change. And it's going to help you to really target the muscle way more effectively and focus on, again, more sufficient muscle growth. Again, guys, I want to thank you for your time today. And if you have any questions on anything I've discussed here today, feel free to reach out. You can leave a comment on this stream or you can send me a message. You can also check out my website, bponlinefitness.com, where you can check out a ton of information related to online fitness coaching, as well as free fitness, nutrition, and recovery related advice. I touch on many different topics in my blog, as well as my email newsletter that I send out every Monday. So definitely check those out. Again, that's all free for you to access on my website. I do also make sure to archive a lot of the live streams that I do. So you can go to YouTube and search my name, Brandon Scott Parton, and you can find a lot of my previous streams that I've done. I always archive them. So anything that you see here on Facebook, I usually put those on YouTube for you to be available to watch. And again, guys, if there's any questions you have, let me know. If there's a topic you would like to discuss or you would like me to discuss in the future, feel free to reach out and let me know. But with all that being said, guys, I really appreciate your time. Again, I will not have a stream this coming week, but the following week I will return to these daily streams or these weekly streams, I should say, and really get back on track. But again, guys, I really appreciate your support. I will continue to keep you updated, as far as my return and from traveling. But I really look forward to sharing more information with you guys. And again, I'm really excited for what's next. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys again in the next few weeks in our next live stream. So thank you guys for watching.